So this is if we don't use technology, if we're just doing it by hand. So when we're sketching it, there's a few things we need to be really careful of that we need to find. And that's the y-intercept. So we're looking for the y-intercept, we're looking for the x-intercept, or intercepts. There's often two, but there could be one or none. And we're looking for the maximum or the minimum point, or sometimes that's called the turning point, or sometimes that's called the vertex. And we're also looking for the line of symmetry. Okay, so these are all the points that we're looking for when we're sketching a graph. So if we look at the first question there, x squared minus 2x minus 8, this is already written in what we call y-intercept form. And that's because we can read off from here that this is the y-intercept. So we know that it crosses through 0, minus 8, and that's your y-intercept. Okay, so if I draw on a set of brackets, a set of axes, sorry. So this is my y-axis and my x-axis. Then I can see that it goes through minus 8 on the x-axis, on the y-axis. Now I'm going to put it into x-intercept form, and that is to factorize it. So I need to factorize it so that I can essentially solve it to find where it crosses the x-axis. So if I'm factorizing this one, I could say it's a nice simple one, because I've just got 1x squared. So it's what times us together to make minus 8 and adds together to make minus 2. So I know that it's just x and x in my brackets, since it's just x squared at the front. So times us together to make minus 8, I've got minus 8, let's just do without the negatives. So 8 and 1 and 2 and 4. Okay, so it must be the 2 and the 4 that I need. And I want to make a negative 2. So I'm going to need to have minus 4 and then adding on 2. So this is what I would have if I factorized it. And if it equal to 0, which is exactly what's happening on this line here, this is where y is equal to 0. Now I could solve it. That's why we're factorizing, because essentially I'm now solving the question. So I'm saying either this number, x plus 2, is equal to 0, or this number, x minus 4, is equal to 0. So x is equal to 2, negative 2, if I rearrange that, or x is equal to 4. Okay, so I'm just rearranging them, adding on 2, or adding on 4, subtracting 2. So I now know that it crosses the x-axis 2 places, minus 2 and 4. Now I need to find my minimum point, or my line of symmetry. So these are both connected because the line of symmetry is at the minimum point or the maximum point. The reason I know that it's a minimum point here is because the x squared term is positive, so it's what we call a happy quadratic or a positive quadratic. So it's going to look something like this, and I'm expecting it to be a minimum point down here. So to find the minimum point, I can do minus b over 2a, and that is the line of symmetry. Okay, so minus b is minus 2, so it's now positive 2 over 2a, and a is 1, so it's over 2, and that gives me 1. So my line of symmetry happens when x is equal to 1. So I can draw on my line of symmetry on here, and x is equal to 1. So now I'm looking for the y value at that value. So I need to substitute this 1 back into my main formula. So y is equal to 1 squared, because I now know that x is 1, minus 2 times 1, minus 8. So y is equal to 1 minus 2 minus 8. And you can do this on your calculator as well. You can type it in there. And I get minus 9. So I now know that my minimum point is at 1 minus 9. And now I can draw on where that quadratic goes. So it comes down through minus 2, minus 8, the minimum point, and back up through 4. And hopefully when you draw yours, it will look a little bit less pointed than mine is. Okay, so when we're sketching this quadratic, we use the y-intercept form